could it be? For me, your man, Louie T, here on the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. So one of the things I love about the draft, I'm going to put a nice, pretty bow on the running back position. And we may circle back. You know, anytime we start having draft conversations, people are all over the place. A lot of times they can't just focus on the topic at hand. We're talking running back, somebody's talking edge rusher in the comment section, right? That's just the nature of how things go. And when you're talking draft, it just spills over and it's all good, right? So we may not be done talking running backs, but for the sake of moving on, this is the last time I'm going to talk about the running back position in particular. But again, this conversation will arise again at some point. But one of the things I love the most about the running back position or the draft in general is that you can change your mind, right? Opinions change. It's a fluid situation. Like I just gave you my top 20 running backs in this year's draft class, but there are other running backs that I've circled back, either hadn't watched at all or watched more of, because I turn into a junkie with this draft stuff once I get in. This is why I'm very cautious in diving in, because once I dive in, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like it's almost like Pringles, right? Once you pop, the fun don't stop, right? Once I pop open that tape, or once I start watching film, I can't stop. So I'm sitting at the barbershop the other day, and I'm waiting for my turn, and so I just turned on a guy that I hadn't watched any of, but he was at the combine, and I was intrigued by some of the things I had heard about him. And I said, oh, he's better than some of the guys I have in my top 20. So I inserted him into my top 20. I'm going to talk about him here on this show. But what the purpose of this show is to give you the Commanders' best value at the running back position in this draft in each round that they select. Obviously, they have 5 selections as currently constituted. I think they're going to trade back once or twice in this draft, end up with 7 selections when it's all said and done. But we can't assume anything. What we do know, and I just want to work with the facts, is that they have 5 selections. 1 in the first round, 1 in the second round, 1 in the 4th round, 1 in the 6th round, 1 in the 7th round. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about those 5 picks and what the best value for the Washington Commanders is at those 5 selections, okay? Keep in mind, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're probably not going to agree with me. That's okay, right? I'm not looking for you to agree with me. If you do, great. Great minds think alike. But if you don't, doesn't mean your opinion isn't valid and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't mean that your opinion isn't great. It's what you see, and I love this time of the year because everybody turns into a scout, right? Everybody thinks they know. And I'm included in that, right? I'm guilty as charged. So I love it. I love the banter and the discourse back and forth. The conversations are great, and I enjoy them. Keep them coming, okay? With that said, and oh yeah, trust me, this doesn't change how I feel about Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, and company. Whomever they decide is the best value for the Commanders at 29, at 61, at 128, I'm on board. Just so we're clear, right? No questions asked. Yeah, okay, I lied. There may be questions asked if I don't necessarily understand it, but I'm riding anyway, right? Without even a thought, I'm riding, right? So just so we're clear, right? Anyway, let's start in the first round. What's the best value for the Commanders at the running back position? And again, when I say best value, I'm talking about maximizing the pick's value with the player getting the most and extracting the most out of that pick based off of what I think about that player and where you are in the draft at the time, okay? To me, there's no first-round running back worthy of the 29th pick if you're the Commanders, if his name isn't Ashton Jeanty. That's just my personal opinion. You will not maximize 29. There will be other players. I assure you there will be other players on the board at the time of the pick that give you better bang for your buck. Now, if they decide that they feel good about one of the Ohio State running backs, or they feel good about Omarion Hampton, or they feel good about XYZ, right? I'm on board. Do I feel like they maximize the pick? Not necessarily, no. But it doesn't change the fact that that guy can come in and help us right away, and I would love it. right? But I think there are other things you can accomplish at 29. If it's not Genty, and it's not going to be, obviously, you're not getting the best bang for your buck at 29, if you ask me. Okay. The real fun at the running back position for us doesn't start until the second round. And again, it would be ideal if they could trade out of 29, end up somewhere in the 30s. That's the sweet spot to maximize the pick for one of the backs that you probably are screaming, Louie T, you're tripping. Travion Henderson is the pick at 29 if he's there. Omarion Hampton is the pick at 29 if he's there. Cool. For you, that's great value. For me, it's not. That's not the best value. It's not the best usage of that selection if you're the Washington Commanders, in my estimation. All right. The conversation for running back does not start until the second round, and you would love to ideally trade back, right? So now you get to the second round. This is where I think you start to really maximize the pick if guys are still available. And again, it's a big if. We don't know what's going to happen. Every year we talk about certain positions. We talk about players. Oh, he'll be gone by here. He'll be gone. And then we get to day 3 and that guy's still there. And you're like, I don't know how that happened, right? So sometimes we overrate and overvalue guys. The league speaks and guys go where they're supposed to go. Maybe they end up proving the league wrong and they should have gone where you thought they should have gone. I'll never let this go, but it reminds me of Alvin Kamara. I thought he should have been a first round pick. He didn't go to the second round. I think a lot of teams regretted not picking him after the fact. You could probably say the same thing about DK Metcalf. I was not a big DK Metcalf guy. I screamed, this guy is a day 3 pick. He can't run routes, yada, yada. And everybody said, shut up. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, and he can catch. What are you talking about? They were right. He should have gone in the first round, right? Anyway, second round, either of the Ohio State backs, tremendous value right off the bat, right? If you can get Travion Henderson or if you can get Quinshon Judkins, you should feel like you just won, right? To me, when I say best value, look, if you want to pay full price for a pair of designer jeans, right, go ahead. If you want that Gucci belt, and you want to pay the full price for it, knock yourself out. You want to spend $500 on a belt, knock yourself out. That same Gucci belt, right? And it's a legit, you didn't get a knockoff. It's a legit Gucci belt. I'm trying to get that same Gucci belt for half off, for $300 instead of $500, okay? That's what I mean by best value, okay? So, yes, you could spend the $500 on Travion Henderson in the first round at 29. Knock yourself out. That's not the best value. If you want to spend $300 for Travion Henderson, you draft him here at 61. Again, assuming he's there. That's why it's the best value, right? Same with Quinshon Judkins, right? Don't think either of them make it to 61, by the way. To me, though, if they're there, it's no-brainer. You take one of those two guys. Or, and this is to me the absolute best value here, DJ Giddens, running back out of K-State. To me, he has the most realistic shot of being there of the 3. And to me, he gives you a 3-down back solution to moving on from Brian Robinson Jr. next year. So same with Quinshon Judkins and probably even Travion Henderson to a lesser degree. He feels like a complimentary back to me. But again, he may emerge as a 3-down dynamo in this league when we look back and say, what were we thinking? How did we think that? And I told you, I think he could be Christian McCaffrey if he's healthy. So if I think he could be McCaffrey, McCaffrey's a 3-down back. He's one of the best we've seen over the last decade as a 3-down back. So we'll see, what happens with Henderson. I think you use Henderson, and somebody brought up, and I want to say this. Somebody brought up Jahmyr Gibbs and his size, and I was demonstrative. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs is way bigger. He looks and appears bigger to me. I actually went and did the homework. They're a similar size, right? Henderson's taller. I think that's why Gibbs feels bigger, because he's more compact, right? He's more compact, but they're roughly the same size. 203 pounds, I think Gibbs is. Henderson's 202, so they're roughly the same size, and I think Gibbs came in the league at 200 pounds, like 199. So he was technically smaller. So that person was right. So mistakes were made on my part. But Gibbs plays bigger than Travion Henderson, if you ask me. But that's no here nor there. There's a reason why they paired Jahmyr Gibbs with David Montgomery, and they didn't just say, here, Jahmyr, you're our lead back and you're going to carry the ball, 287 times, and you're going to catch it out of the backfield another 167 times. Like, they're not putting that kind of weight on him, right? They're splitting his carries. They're maximizing his usage by not putting too much on him, right? So that's what you want to do with Travion Henderson, I believe. With Giddens, you can just turn him loose, right? Hey, get it. Get as much of it as you can out of this guy. He's that type of back. I already told you, he screams Todd Gurley to me, right? He's my second rated back in this draft. Maybe a little bit higher than some out there. I don't care. That's what I see in this guy. A great blend of size, speed, the ability to make people miss, physicality. He can catch it out of the backfield and not just as a check down, running those wheel routes, sort of like Travion Henderson, a guy that you can split out wide and can actually get active as a route runner and catch the football. Really good hands. There's a lot to his game that I really like. And he can make people miss. That's the thing that you don't see, again, out of a lot of these bigger, like Quinson Judkins is not making anybody miss. He'll run over you. He's not making you miss. So DJ Giddens, to me, is the best value in the second round. Best value the Commanders can get, unless one of the Ohio State backs are there. Then you may go in that direction, right? But I don't think they're going to be there. So your best value is probably going to be DJ Giddens. Go to the fourth round where the Commanders hold their next selection. And I think it's one of three backs, right? Any of these three backs fit the bill of best value for the Commanders. And there's a chance that 2 out of the 3 will be there. One of these guys, I don't think there's a chance in hell he's there, but you just never know. Again, the draft is funny that way. Teams formulate opinions. They look at guys. We don't need this type of back. We need this type of back, or they need other positions. And all of a sudden, a guy falls that you don't think should fall to day 3. But if any of these backs get to day 3 while the Commanders are on the clock, then I would be, if I haven't already solved the running back riddle by then, this is a great opportunity to do so. RJ Harvey of UCF, 5'8", right around 200 pounds, 205 or so. Just a bottle, a bottle of lightning, right? 4'4", flat, 40, dynamic, screams change of pace back at an elite level in this league. I would love to turn the card in with his name on it in the 4th round for the Commanders. Give you tremendous value if he gets there, right? This is why it's tremendous value, because you hope he falls to you. I don't expect him to be there day 3. Of the 3 backs I'm going to give you, I don't expect him. He's the one that I don't think is going to be there day 3. These other 2, I think, have a really good chance of being there by the time we get to day 3. Brashard Smith, SMU running back. And somebody said this to me the other day, and I'm taking his word on it, and I'm going to go do my homework. We've been talking about Femi Oladipo, right? Olafemi Oladipo. He likes to go by Femi. And he said he made a positional switch. And I talked about this with Brashard Smith. I said, remember, with Brashard Smith, you can look at it glass half full or glass half empty, because he's only got 1 year of experience at running back. I chose to look at it glass half full. With Oladipo, I looked at it glass half empty. Where's the production? What is he doing? Why does he look lost? Well, it's because he's only played the position 1 year. Good point. And he told me, hey, go watch this game. I didn't watch that game, so I'm going to go watch that game to see if I feel differently about him, right? That said, Brashard Smith is a guy that has 1 year of experience, and teams could look at him and say, oh, 1 year of experience and he did that. What will happen when we get him in our system and he gets more experience? We'll see. I'm hoping that him just playing 1 year, being undersized, a little light in the trunks, he falls to the 4th round, right? But they could easily look at him and say, he's this year's Jahmyr Gibbs. And if that happens, he's gone. Way, way earlier than the 4th round. But if he's there, tremendous value in the 4th round. And I could see him being there in the 4th round. And then Basul Tootin, right? Basul Tootin out of Virginia Tech. He to me is the quintessential polarizing pick in this draft, where some people have him as high as the 2nd round, some people have him as low as the 5th round. He's all over the map. He's dynamic. I do know that. There's no way to say it other than I would love for the Commanders to get a guy with that kind of speed on their team. That is what I'm looking for. You want to make me smile come April 25th or 26th, right? Draft somebody with the kind of speed that Basul Tootin has, and I'll be cheesing ear to ear at the running back position. And again, there are not many guys in this league that have have that kind of speed at the running back position. That's what I'm looking for. I want to strike fear in the hearts of teams, knowing when they play us, hey, don't let that guy in open field. We don't have a guy like that. Every one of our running backs can get caught in the open field. Every one of them. None of them are running away from anyone. No one cares if Austin Eckler catches a screen. He's not going to score a touchdown. Same with Brian Robinson Jr. Nobody cares. I want a guy where you're like, yo, don't let him loose. Basul Tootin is that guy. Don't let him loose. If he's there in the 4th round, that is the best value you could possibly get if you're a Commanders fan. If they turn the card in with any one of those guys' names, R.J. Harvey, Bashard Smith, or Basul Tootin, you can't lose. Best value for the Commanders at the running back position in the 4th round. 6th round, 7th round, they're the same to me, right? You know how I feel about anything after the 5th round, have at it, right? Knock yourself out. There are 2 guys in particular that I would absolutely love if the Commanders selected, and I think it is tremendous value if you get either one. So that story I just told you about the barbershop and watching film, waiting for my turn, was about Marcus Yarns, running back out of Delaware, was at the combine, and I remember thinking to myself, they invited this guy to the combine. He must be somewhat decent. So, popped on a game against Rhode Island, and he went bananas in that game. And I was like, oh, okay. And loved his movement skills at 5'11", 193, ran a 4.45 at the combine. Then I said, well, obviously the easy low-hanging fruit thing to do, because we're human, is, oh, well, it's against Delaware. Who cares? So the year before, he played against Penn State. And he had a 66-yard touchdown run where he ran away from them. And I went, oh, okay. All right, cool. So, then I went through, I went down a rabbit hole, right? And he's better than several of the backs that I have on my top 20 list. He's now ahead of Jaden Blue, Jaquindon Jackson, Rocket Sanders, all those guys. He's my 18th back in this draft is Marcus Yarns. To me, if you can get him in the 6th round, you feel like you won, right? This guy, he gives me Nyheim Hines vibes coming out of NC State. Now, Nyheim Hines was a much better pass catcher, and he was faster. But this guy's just, he's quick. He can make people miss. I think he's more fluid of an athlete than Nyheim Hines was. Hines was a little tight-hipped, right? But Hines was, he was this year's probably, I'd say, Basul Tootin was Hines coming out. Yarns is interesting, man, because he's the quintessential late round change of pace back right now. And I think he's the best value you can get in the 6th round if you're the Commanders. 7th round, Jaden Blue, running back out of Texas. If he's there, you run, you sprint, you turn the card in if you haven't already taken care of the running back position. And your running back issues are solved. You still got B-Rob, you still got Eck, and now you add Jaden Blue, and you've got a complete room. And if you want to keep Jeremy McNichols around, knock yourself out. All right? That's the best value for the Commanders at the running back position. What says you, right? Leave it down in the comment section. You got better value for the Commanders in the first, second, fourth, sixth, and seventh rounds? Let me know. Leave it down in the comment section. I would love to read your responses. And maybe you'll name a guy that I haven't heard of or I haven't watched enough of, and maybe I'll go back and watch. Leave it down in the comment section. Well, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up, take command, best value at the running back position, and we'll do this for all of the positions that we go over prior to the draft. So I look forward to reading your comments, seeing what you have to say. Like this video, subscribe for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, because we're going hot and heavy on the draft. I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one.
LouieTeeNetwork.